This is Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of June 8th, 2011. I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And these are giant stacks of stuff. We actually recorded an episode last week, but it was too long. It was 20 minutes long, and we couldn't figure out how to upload it anyplace effectively. So we will rehash some of that stuff, and we apologize for talking so much. I have a timer set today. It's going to go off. If it does go off, the camera will just shut off instantly, and you know that we'll be done. So last week, some things that you should be aware of. Fear Itself, issue number 3, came out. And a Marvel character may not be with us anymore come the end of it. Lots of action in this one, but for those of you keeping score with Fear Itself, issue 3 came out along with some very cool tie-ins, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Also, we'll zip through a couple other things from last week. Shinku, number 1, by Ron Marz and Lee Moder. This is a creator-owned title for Ron Marz, writer of Green Lantern, Witchblade, Angelus, and a bunch of other cool stuff. A cool upcoming Conan series from Dark Horse. Shinku is a story that involves
Samurai.
a line of samurai and vampires and Americans in Japan, and it's just it's a great book. It's one that should be supported because Ron Marz needs our support as an independent creator. If you like, vampires and samurai swords and strong female leads, Ron Marz does really well writing strong female leads. Shinku is definitely on our list of books to check out. Last week.
Continuing
Still
last
week. Flashpoint number 2, and there was a lot of stuff last week, so this is just really quick. Flashpoint number 2. Flashpoint continues to rock on all cylinders. There's some great stuff that goes on in this. There's a cool last page, gasping thing that you kind of had with the first issue as well. And I'm going to take 1 minute and talk about the DC announcement from last week that they are basically introducing a new DC universe at the end of Flashpoint come September. 52 new number 1 issues. Lots of things will change. Some things may stay the same. They've made some great creative team announcements already since last week's announcement. And just bottom line, I think it falls to all of us, retailers, publishers, and fans, readers, to get new people into comics. This is why DC is doing it, because 25 years ago they had Crisis, and a whole new generation of readers could get on board with Justice League number 1, and Superman number 1, and Wonder Woman number 1. And it was very easy to get into these characters, even though they'd been around for decades. Now again, we're 25 years after Crisis, and we've got to open the door to the general public and say, come on in, you can check out these comics with a new Batman number 1, a new Superman number 1. And instead of being angry and upset about this, I think as a comic book industry, we all need to get together and find a way to get these new readers. Everyone says there are new readers out there, and I'm in a camp that firmly believes that I can sell a comic to anybody. Anybody that likes entertainment, that likes serialized fiction, movies, novels, TV shows, a comic is out there for you. So we need to get them in the door, and it falls to all of us. It's not just our job. It's not just the publisher's job. It's the fans' job, too, to bring your friends, hide your kids, hide your wife, to bring your friends and bring your relatives into a comic book store and introduce them to comics. So more on the DC revamp down the road, but let's pass things off to Josh.
New this week from Boom's Kaboom imprint, which is their more children-centric line, we have Space Warped. This is a medieval fantasy with a storyline you may recognize. Obviously, it's a parody of Star Wars, and I think anyone familiar with the original trilogy will enjoy this.
And we're back to Flashpoint. Lots of Flashpoint titles came out last week, the miniseries, Batman Night of Vengeance, Evan Sur, the Green Lantern. There were 4 Flashpoint tie-ins last week. All of them were excellent. This week, 4 more Flashpoint tie-ins, and again, they were all excellent. That's the thing about Flashpoint. No one really knew what Flashpoint was going to be about. Everybody saw 16 miniseries. Oh my God, what are they doing? Myself included. And now that I've had a chance to read 8 miniseries plus 2 issues of Flashpoint, they must know something that they're doing because it's a whole lot of fun, and I'm enjoying all of it. Flashpoint, Emperor, Aquaman, yes, sir.
So you're saying is they changed our universe and made a bunch of new books, and they were good?
Yes.
Awesome.
That is key. And if you're a fan of Elseworlds, you need to be reading Flashpoint because a lot of the coolness factor of this is discovering how your favorite characters, heroes and villains, appear in the Flashpoint universe because not all of them are the same, obviously. Take Emperor Aquaman, for example. He is not just a goofy guy that talks to fish. He is ruler of Europe for the most part. This written by Tony Bedard, art by Ardian Syaf, who I've mispronounced his name before when he was on Birds of Prey. But great artwork, great story. You really see a conflicted Aquaman, I think, with this. And it just the way that they take existing characters, existing DC characters, and twist them in new ways and make it fun and exciting, that's what Flashpoint's all about. Comics are supposed to be fun and exciting. Fans, retailers have been crying out for years, we need to make comics fun and exciting again, and DC's doing a bang-up job with Flashpoint. We'll continue with Flashpoint. Flashpoint, Deathstroke, and the Curse of the Ravager. Deathstroke's a pirate, Warlord's a pirate, Clayface is a pirate. That's all you need to know. Good stuff. Citizen Cold. Citizen Cold used to be Captain Cold in our world. He is the hero of Keystone City, Star City, wherever they are. It's Keystone City. Central City. And written and drawn by Scott Collins. Again, good stuff, good stuff. And my pick of the week is going to come in the middle of the stack this week. Flashpoint, Frankenstein, and the Creatures of the Unknown. This exceeded my expectations. I don't think I expected anything out of this book, because the last time I saw Frankenstein and the Creature Commandos was when Grant Morrison was doing Seven Soldiers of Victory, and I didn't really care for that. But just good stuff. Great artwork. Takes place over a period of 60 some odd years. Starts during World War II and ends up in present day Flashpoint world. And just a lot of fun. Very cool. Monster, war, guns, cool stuff. Pick of the week, right here.
All right, and we've also got out this week Iron Age Alpha, which follows. It's a out of continuity sideline from Marvel. It's a one shot that kicks it off, and there's going to be a mini coming up next month, I believe. Basically, you've got Iron Man is confronted by someone he's wronged in the past, who he doesn't even remember, and they manipulate him into helping him bring the Dark Phoenix into our timeline and basically destroy the world. As part of that, our Tony from the current timeline, is kicked back in time about 20 years to the time when the Dark Phoenix was pulled out. And so now Tony has to make friends and deal with himself at that time, who, if you'll recall, was drinking a lot. And it was actually a lot of fun. I had kind of limited expectations for it, but I love the Demon in a Bottle storyline. I love the Dark Phoenix storyline, and this is bringing the best parts of both together, so you should check it out.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Yes.
Chocolate and peanut butter. Demon in a Bottle, Dark Phoenix. All right, close runner-up for Pick of the Week. American Vampire Survival of the Fittest. This is a new 5-issue miniseries from Scott Snyder and Sean Murphy. It's a great companion piece to what's going on in the main American Vampire book. This one involves the cast of characters from the second story arc in American Vampire, Cash McCougan and, is it Felicia Book? What's her name?
Not sure.
I don't remember her first name. But it takes place also during World War II, and from what we've been told, we're going to see this cast of characters end up in Europe fighting Nazis, while the original cast of characters from American Vampire is in the Pacific fighting vampires. So just Scott Snyder can do no wrong at this point. This book is so good. If you love comics, you should be reading American Vampire. We have both hardcovers in stock. We've got copies of this. Come read it, please.
New this week, Screamland #1. There was a Screamland mini a few years ago which just came out in trade, which would help set this up, but it's actually very readable on its own. Basically, you've got all of your classic Universal horror monsters, the Wolfman, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, vampires, Dracula, and they're all actual people playing themselves in movies, except that was a long time ago and they're not famous anymore. So you've got a washed-up Wolfman contemplating working in porn. You've got them working the Comic Con circuit with other washed-up actors. It's just a lot of fun. If you like the Universal monsters, if you like kind of Hollywood parodies, it's just an immensely fun and slightly adult book.
It's perfect for comic fans. I mean, heck,
Totally
it takes
is.
place at a comic convention or a sci-fi convention. Ghost Rider 0.1, there's a new Ghost Rider series coming, written by Rob Williams, with art by, what's his name? That guy. Clark. I can't remember his first name. Anyway, he did some really great stuff for DC a couple years ago. This is Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider, and he wants to be rid of the spirit of vengeance, and he runs into someone who promises that he can do that for him. And of course, there's going to be a catch with that, but we don't know what that is at this point. So, if you're a Ghost Rider fan, this is the time to get on board with this one. I had a lot of fun with it. The artwork was excellent, and I prefer Johnny Blaze to Whiny Danny Ketch.
Samurai's Blood #1 from Image came out this week. We've had a lot of samurai stuff lately with Shinku and the samurai stuff in X-Men and the samurai stuff in the Five Soldiers, whatever it was with all the that. But this is actually one of the better ones we've had. I really enjoyed it. It was paced well, it was laid out well, and I felt like a lot happened in this first issue. There was a lot of good action. There was a lot dealing with the code of the samurai, and I just cannot wait to see what happens next.
The artwork is excellent.
She
You know,
purty.
yes, it's just good stuff. Try some indie books this week. Speaking of indie books, Fear Itself, Fearsome 4, featuring Marvel's indie characters. Not so much, but come on. Howard the Duck, Frankenstein, Nighthawk, She-Hulk, and Man-Thing. I just can't imagine reading a book with those characters, but this was fun. It was a fun book, and you get some surprising artwork by Simon Bisley, that guy, the guy who was on board with Lobo many, many years ago. So that alone should be a selling point for a lot of people, that Bisley's back doing some art. But Howard the Duck is the main character in this book. He's the narrator, and we don't get to see that too often. So support Howard and She-Hulk, Frankenstein, Nighthawk, and Man-Thing, and pick up Fear Itself, Fearsome 4, issue number 1.
All right, we've also got two Green Lantern movie prequels this week. One for Kilowog and one for Tomar the Tomar guy. And they're both actually really good. Each one is a sort of a self-contained story following one adventure of the character leading up to setting up stuff for the movie. So at the end of the Kilowog finds out that Abin Sur has died, so we know this is taking place pretty much immediately before the movie, and Tomar is shortly before that. Tomar has to question his oaths as a Green Lantern, whether it's better to let people die or to catch the bad guy, and whether it's okay to ignore the Guardians when they're wrong. And Kilowog is doing what Kilowog does best, which is training new Lanterns and being just awesome. So if you're a GL fan, if you're excited for the movie, you should totally check these out.
Speaking of totally checking things out, Booster Gold number 45, an official Flashpoint tie-in, as was issue 44. Booster Gold is the only series that directly ties in with Flashpoint in the mainstream DC universe. So Booster is in the Flashpoint world. He knows something is not right. Up till this issue, he thinks he's the only hero left, but he discovers that there are others. And we find out who is pulling Doomsday's strings, and it's an interesting reveal. Mm-hmm. This is absolute must-reading, I think, if you're reading Flashpoint. We do still have copies of 44. 45 comes out today, and it's Booster Gold. Read it.
My pick of the week is Who Are the Mystery Men? This is a 5-issue mini from Marvel. It's dealing with characters that, as far as I know, didn't exist prior to this crossover, or prior to this mini. And it's a pulp story set in the 50s in New York City, and you've got classic Men of Mystery characters, and you've got great narration. If you like The Shadow or The Phantom, any of that classic pulp stuff, this is a great read. It's well laid out. It's got a good suspenseful pacing, and it's got some nice artwork. So if you're a fan of that time period or that style of adventurous fisticuffs, you should totally read it.
And just a quick note, it's still, even though I saw him last week, I'm still excited about the previews and the Marvel books for the new Captain America series by Ed Brubaker and Steve McNiven. The artwork looks outstanding. Mm-hmm. So that's a new Captain America #1 that's starting in July, and you get a sneak peek in Marvel books this week and last week. It just looks amazing. That's it for this week. We managed to get through it. Hooray. And we'll be back next week with our picks of the best of the comic book world. You can leave comments down below the YouTube video or contact us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/alteregomaniacs. Thank you for watching.